Hey friends, welcome back to the channel. Today's video is going to be a little different from our normal content, and I'm specifically making this video because so many of you have emailed me and left me comments asking for me to do an update on my stomach issue that I've been having for a little bit over a year now. So this is not going to count as our weekly uploads, so don't worry. This is just kind of like a bonus side video just to update you guys on how my endoscopy procedure went. The video is a little bit chatty, just me kind of sitting down, chatting with you guys about my issues I've been having, my endoscopy procedure, and then also the follow-up to that procedure and what they found. So if you're not into chatty kind of videos and just hanging out chatting with me, no worries. We'll catch you on the next one. So with that being said, let's get into it. Well, hey guys, good morning and welcome back to the channel. This is going to be a little bit of a different video. I thought I would take you guys along with me for my endoscopy procedure. Most of you know that have been around for a while. I've been having some stomach pain for about a year, maybe a year and a half. And I had an endoscopy done in Virginia last year, which is where they send the camera down your throat into your stomach. And they found out that I had 3 ulcers in my stomach, and I've since been on a journey to heal them, but I am still in pain. So we're not sure if the ulcers have healed, if they've gotten worse, if I've developed new ones, if there's a totally separate issue going on, but it's become pretty annoying, the pain that I've been in. And as you guys are well aware, we live off-grid here in Alaska, and we heat our home strictly with firewood. And so a lot of the things that are required here to live here on this property is physical activity. And so sometimes it's hard. When I'm in a lot of pain, I can't really help Joe with things. So I do my best. And the weird thing is this pain is very intermittent, and it just comes and goes when it wants to. Sometimes for 2-3 weeks at a time, I'm perfectly fine. And then sometimes for a week straight, I'm in constant pain. So it's just the weirdest thing. I have no idea what it is. And as much as I don't want to go back under anesthesia for this procedure today, I need answers. As a lot of you also know, I just lost my grandfather last month, and he was diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer, but that is not what killed him. He went in for a procedure to take fluid out of his lung that was building up, and they put him under, and he went into cardiac arrest, and he died right then and there. The doctor said they weren't expecting that. There was no reason that he should have went into cardiac arrest. It's a very routine procedure that they do all the time. And I say that to say, I don't like going under at all, whether it's hardcore anesthesia or I think today they're putting me on propofol. In Virginia, they gave me medical fentanyl and Versed. I was completely out of it for like an entire day. Joe said on the way home, we went through the Taco Bell drive-thru. I don't remember any of that. Apparently I had a whole conversation with the doctor after the procedure. Don't remember that either. Came home, kicked my shoes off, went to sleep for the rest of the day. I don't like the way that feels, and so I'm hoping that the propofol is a better experience. They're saying that it is, but we'll see. So anyway, we have an hour to this center where we're having this procedure done today. Joe's going to take me in, and you know, it's supposed to be a very quick procedure, 15 to 30 minutes that I'm under. They go in with the camera. I should know today when I leave the center what she found when she was in there. Other than biopsies that they may take, those will obviously take about a week to come back for those results, but anything else I should know today. So you guys have been on this journey with me for a long time, so I figured what the heck, I'll take you with me for this too. I have no jewelry on, no nothing. Like, you know, before any procedure they tell you like take all that off, and I do wear contacts normally on a daily basis, so that is why this morning I'm wearing my glasses. I'm pretty much wearing my pajamas. I've got on a hoodie, my comfy pants, a pair of Uggs. Today is the first step. Hopefully we can figure it out today. If not, then we have to go down this road of more testing to try to figure it out. So anyway, boys are eating their breakfast. We got to hit the road.
Okay. I can finish this one. I'll finish this one.
I'm just kidding. I don't want to do this.
Oh, no.
I'm actually terrified. I wasn't nervous until we got here. No.
Are you wearing your glasses?
Huh?
Hmm?
Yeah, I'm leaving on here. I'm ready to go. I'm next, they say. Well, hey friends. I'm back home in my bedroom, in my bed. That's not made because I just took a nap, so don't look at it. I feel great. I mean, I'm still a little groggy, but I feel great. But my experience with this endoscopy in Alaska compared to the endoscopy that I got in Virginia last year was like night and day. Not just, I mean, it was like the whole experience. When I went to the gastroenterologist office in Virginia last year, it was, the whole waiting room was packed full of people. They were just being herded through like cattle. They were over an hour past my appointment time before they even called me back. When they got me back there, I was nervous because I don't like being put under, like I said. Sorry, my throat's, it's a little sore. I wasn't sore last time from the endoscopy, but this time, every time I swallow, it's a little sore. But when they reeled me back in Virginia, everything was in a hurry and rushed, and they put me on this bed, and the girl came and did my IV, and she, I don't know what she did. I'm not a nurse, but I bled all over myself. And she's like, oh, you've got sensitive veins. And I'm like, girl, no, I don't. I've gotten IVs so many times in my life, and ain't nobody made me bleed like that. So maybe you should practice a little bit more. And she just like gave me like tissues, and so I had like blood all over my pants. It was all over the bed. I mean, just, it was rushed is what it was. And that made it even worse for me because I was already scared. I'd never had an endoscopy. I don't like being put under. And it just wasn't this calming environment. It was just very scary. Anyway, I went in this morning in the Alaska clinic where I got this done, and there was nobody there. Like, the waiting room was empty. It was clean and quiet and peaceful. The receptionist that checked me in was so nice. The lady that brought me back, I mean, they brought me back earlier than my appointment time, actually. And just everything. The anesthesiologists that came and talked to me, they were so sweet and gentle. And then when they reeled me back and put that thing in my mouth, the guy said, okay, I'm just going to give you some oxygen. He's like, so take a couple deep breaths for me. And I was like, okay. And I took a deep breath, and that's all I remember. And can I tell you guys something? I really appreciate that he did not tell me he was about to inject me with the propofol. They gave me propofol here in Alaska. But I just appreciated that he didn't tell me that it was coming, because even if it's just for 5 seconds before I get knocked out, it scares me and my heart races, and it's just that anxiety. I believed his little butt. I thought he was just going to give me oxygen, and maybe he was, or he did right after, but what he did do was inject me with the propofol, because it was one deep breath and I was out. I woke up in the recovery room with a funky taste in my mouth, but heard the nurses laughing in a room next to me, thought I was dreaming, woke up, and I was like, oh gosh, it's over. So anyway, I just wanted to mention that, because isn't bedside manner everything in these kinds of situations? Nurses are wonderful, and I've had good experiences and I've had bad experiences with them. And if you're a nurse out there, can I just tell you as the patient, the difference that it makes for us when you're just so kind and so pleasant and calming. And for those of us that have anxiety about hospitals and anesthesia and all the things, it's just a game changer. Anyway, it is currently 9 p.m. I got home hours ago. We got home, I'd say about 3 o'clock. I came home. I had a bowl of chicken noodle soup because I haven't eaten or drank since before midnight last night. I did bring my electrolyte water. I've been sipping on that since we left the hospital. And then I immediately fell asleep. I tried to like play on my phone for a little bit after I ate soup, and I couldn't keep my eyes open. So I took a really long nap, and I woke up and actually just got chicken in the oven and sliced up some zucchini. We're gonna have dinner. It's a late dinner, but I slept for a really long time. Anyway, let me tell you what the doctor found. In Virginia, they found a small hiatal hernia, which I'll put a picture right here. Basically, a hiatal hernia is just when that hole that your esophagus runs through is a little bit bigger than it's supposed to be. So your stomach can actually start to push up through that hole into your chest cavity instead of staying down under the diaphragm where it's supposed to be. But my hiatal hernia is very small. They don't feel that that's the cause of like my pain. Definitely no need for surgery. A lot of people have hiatal hernias and they don't even know it. They're asymptomatic. So they found the hiatal hernia at the endoscopy in Virginia. They also found 3 ulcers, duodenal ulcers. And it appears from today's endoscopy that those ulcers in my duodenal region of my intestine, which is the very beginning of your intestine, like as you come out of your stomach into your intestine, it's like right there. It appears that those have healed because they're not noted here on this report. So she did find 1 or more mucosal breaks less than 5 millimeters, which basically leads into esophagitis was found, is what this says. Biopsies were taken with a cold forceps, and those are going to be sent out, and I'll get those results within a week or so, she said. So esophagitis, essentially, whether my sphincter, you know, your esophagus goes into your stomach and you have a little sphincter there, it's the muscle that contracts tight that keeps your stomach acid from going up into your esophagus. And it's only supposed to open when you swallow to allow food to go down into your stomach. Some people, that muscle is weaker than others, and it allows that stomach acid to reflux up into your esophagus where it's not supposed to be. Could partially be from the hiatal hernia, all that pressure from the stomach pushing up through that hole a little bit, or it could be that sphincter is weakened. Either way, my issue is acid. My stomach acids, for whatever reason, are not, sorry. My stomach acids, for whatever reason, are not staying in my stomach. They like to splash up into my esophagus. And I have inflammation and some erosion in my esophagus. Now, you know, that's not good, right? Because constant erosion of the mucosal lining, you know, our stomach and esophagus has a mucosal lining that's a protector, a barrier, and that acid is like, it just burns right through it. So when you do that, it can cause esophageal cancer if it's not corrected or treated. So I have a follow-up appointment with my gastroenterologist later this month, so in a couple weeks. So I'm going to talk to her more in depth about what the treatment plan is going forward. You guys know me. I don't like pills, okay, at all. And in Virginia, when they found the ulcers, the first thing they did was put me on PPIs, proton pump inhibitors. And what those do is reduce the stomach acid in your stomach. So it allows stomach ulcers and like esophageal inflammation to heal. But the problem is, it's like a double-edged sword. The problem with that is you need acid in your stomach. You're supposed to have acid in your stomach. The acid is how you break down your food, so you get the nutrients from your food, all the things. So I have zero intention. If she recommends I go on a proton pump inhibitor, I have zero intention of doing it long-term. Like 3 months maybe, maybe 4 months, just to allow my esophagus to heal, to lessen that acid. I might be open to that. But the biggest thing I'm going to try to do, you guys, is my diet. Now, you guys know I'm already on the keto diet. I'm pretty much low carb, heavy meat, which I feel is the proper human diet. I do eat vegetables. I do eat some fruits occasionally, but meat and veg, that's pretty much what I eat. Water and coffee is what I drink. I don't drink sodas. I've been on keto for 3 months now, so I've already significantly cleaned up my diet from what it was before. Right where my pain is right between my breastbone all the way through to my back, which is right where she found the inflammation in my esophagus from the stomach acid. I mean, this is the photo that she gave me. So number 1 is my hiatal hernia location, and number 4 is where she found all the inflammation in my lower esophagus. So I'm hoping with cleaning up my diet even more, and some other changes like making sure not to eat 2 to 3 hours before I go to bed, trying to stay away from spicy foods, and also Joe's going to be putting some 2x4 blocks under the posts of our headboard, because keeping us at just a little bit of an incline when we sleep at night, gravity will help keep that acid down in my stomach instead of refluxing up into my esophagus, which it does do at night. Things change when you get older, right? Like, what's up with that? How come my little sphincter didn't have an issue when I was like 25? How come? How come I just got the ulcers last year? Thankfully, those are healed. I'm very happy about that. But I mean, you just start to get older and you look back on all the things you did as a kid, like all of my partying days and all the drinking, and oh my gosh, you guys, like if I could go back now with the knowledge that I have, I would do things so differently. So now, you know, I'm probably paying for some of those decisions that I made, and stress has been a huge contributor for me. I know it has, for my ulcers and some of my issues, right? So stress increases your cortisol. Cortisol increases your stomach acid. Increased stomach acid can wreak havoc, obviously, and cause all kinds of issues. So, you know, there is truth to that. So don't take that lightly. Too much stress in your life, the physical effect that it has on your body can be pretty damaging. But anyway, I am gonna do my best to try to heal myself naturally. I don't want to be on these proton pump inhibitors for the rest of my life. So if they recommend them, which I'm sure they will, that seems to be their go-to thing, is let's stop the stomach acid. It's like, you know, you relieve symptoms with that, but then you're going to get other symptoms because you need stomach acid to properly digest and obtain the nutrients from the food that you eat. So it's kind of a catch-22, but temporary is something that I'm willing to do, but not long-term. All right, so I purposely held off on uploading this video because I wanted to be able to give you guys an update after my follow-up appointment from that endoscopy procedure. And like I suspected, the gastroenterologist recommended that I go on a PPI, a proton pump inhibitor, which, as I've explained, reduces the stomach acid in your stomach. Now, I'm not too happy about this, okay? And I even went back to my primary care doctor and we had an hour-long conversation. That's one thing I like about my primary doctor up here, is he doesn't kind of rush you out the door. He will sit there and talk through things with you. And I told him, my biggest concern is this, so we are essentially treating the symptoms. We're not treating the root cause of my issue. So there is a root cause that's causing my acid to reflux up into my esophagus, and it's causing erosion in my lower esophagus, which is causing inflammation, which is causing significant pain. I can't believe that that little bit of inflammation in my esophagus causes the amount of pain that I've been in. And there's 4 levels to the esophageal erosion. Essentially, there's 4 levels to it, and I am on the lowest level of that. So I'm not anywhere near, cancer status of the esophagus, anything like that. And I'm just blown away that this small amount of inflammation from the acid has been the cause of such significant pain. But my problem is, something is causing the reflux, the continuous reflux up into my esophagus. Whether that's an issue with my little sphincter valve not staying closed and allowing that acid to reflux up in there, and that's the issue, or my hiatal hernia, the pressure from the stomach pushing through that hernia is causing you know, the acid to be pushed up into my esophagus as well. I don't really know for sure what the cause is. All we know is that my esophagus is inflamed because of the acid. So I feel like taking proton pump inhibitors is treating the symptom, not treating the root cause, and I don't like that. The gastroenterologist and my primary care doctor both recommended that I take the proton pump inhibitor omeprazole for at least 2 to 3 months. And the reasoning behind that, they say, is to lower the stomach acid so that it gives my esophagus the opportunity to heal. But my concern is if we have not addressed the root cause, even if my esophagus heals after 2 or 3 months of like lower stomach acid, right? Isn't the problem just going to come right back? I mean, I'm not a doctor. I know I'm not the smartest cookie in the cupboard, but I mean, does that make sense? Like, so the issue isn't just that the acid is being pushed up in the esophagus, something is causing that to happen. So we're not really identifying that. So I feel like this is a short-term fix. My fear is that after a few months, even if the omeprazole and lowering my stomach acid allows the esophagus to heal, I'm afraid that it's just going to happen all over again as soon as I get off of the proton pump inhibitor. So you guys know I don't like pills. I'm all about natural remedies, and I do not have any intention of staying on these proton pump inhibitors long term. After 2 or 3 months, probably 3 months, I've agreed to stay on them for 3 months, hoping that it allows my esophagus to heal. If the symptoms come back after I stop the omeprazole, I think my next course of action is to look into potential surgery to fix my hiatal hernia. I have had, because I know so many of you have left me comments about my gallbladder, my pancreas, my liver, my kidneys, all these things that could be the potential problem. Friends, I have had tests done, I've had blood work done, I've had all kinds of things done in addition to this endoscopy now at this point that have ruled all of those issues out. My gallbladder is working fine. I do not have gallstones. I have no issues with my pancreas, no kidney issues. My liver is fine. So those are not the problem. The cause of the pain has been identified as erosion of my lower esophagus. And so if these proton pump inhibitors don't fix the problem in a few months, I think I may have to look into getting this hiatal hernia corrected, because that may be the problem. The pressure from that hernia and my stomach shoving up through that may be causing the acid to be shoved up into my esophagus as well. And even though my hiatal hernia is very small and they don't think typically this shouldn't cause this kind of a problem, they don't typically even do surgery on a hiatal hernia as small as mine unless it's causing problematic symptoms, which mine may be, right? So I'm giving this omeprazole 3 months, and then I'm going to wean myself off of it because the long-term side effects of these proton pump inhibitors is not good. It's very dangerous. I've had no short-term side effects from the omeprazole to this point, and I've now been on this proton pump inhibitor for a month. So since the last time I checked in on the video, it's a month later, and I've been on the omeprazole. I've had no bad side effects from it, no headaches, nausea, like just nothing. I don't even really know I'm on it, except for the fact that it has given me some relief from the pain that I was having from my esophagus. And when I say some, I mean that there's been days where I've still had that burning, searing pain through my breastbone all the way to my back. But the difference since I've been on the omeprazole is that it hasn't been as significant, where it's like debilitating. There's times where Joe and I are working outside and I have to sit down because it's like, I've explained it to you guys before, it's like someone took a burning coal out of the fireplace and just stuck it right in the center of my chest, and it's this dull, aching burn that never stops. So sometimes it's debilitating and I have to sit down, and it lasts all day. I've had it last 8 hours straight before, to the point where I am in bed crying in pain, because when you're in pain like that for that long of a period of time, it's crippling. It really is. So the omeprazole has helped. When I've felt the pain since I've been on the omeprazole, it's been very intermittent and it's been very short-lived. It might be like an hour of like a little bit of pain there. Like I can feel it's there, but it's not nearly as significant as before, and it does not last for hours and hours and hours. So that also tells me that it's the stomach acid that's causing the pain in my esophagus from that inflammation, right? Because the omeprazole is lowering the stomach acid in my stomach. So I'm not happy about it, friends. We need stomach acid, like I said before, we need stomach acid. The long-term side effects of staying on proton pump inhibitors are significant. So just looking here on basic information about these drugs, right? It includes bone fractures, gut infections, vitamin B12 deficiencies. Symptoms include feeling very tired, sore. You can get ulcers from it, pins and needles. I mean, there's just like, you can have chronic headaches, you can have stomach-related issues, nausea, vomiting, diarrhea. I mean, it's like a catch-22. Like, you're trying to heal this one symptom, and then with that can come all these other issues. So I have no intention of staying on this drug long-term. I agreed to the 3 months that they asked me to do to see if it heals my esophagus. And then if the problem comes back, we're going to have to continue to figure out what the cause is and actually fix the cause of it. So that's pretty much where I am right now. Been on the omeprazole for a month. I've been feeling a lot better, but it's still there a little bit. And then I'll probably do another update later on once I get off the omeprazole and give it a couple months to see if that healed my issue and if it's gone away completely or not, right? I don't want to have surgery to get my hernia fixed. I really don't. It's an invasive surgery. They do use the robots and they go in and essentially they take that hole that your esophagus goes through, right? If you have a hernia, it's too big. It's not as small as it should be and tightly around the esophagus. So the surgery, they go in and they close that gap to keep your stomach down below the diaphragm where it's supposed to be. You have to be on a liquid diet for 2 weeks, and I mean, it's just significant, you guys. And you already know, like, I don't like anesthesia and being put under anyway. So I'm really hoping by the grace of God that somehow I have a miracle and this omeprazole will allow my esophagus the time that it needs to heal. And then I just never have this problem again. But something in my little spidey senses tells me that that might not be the case because we haven't addressed what's caused this to begin with, right? So anyway, that's the update on my stomach. Endoscopy procedure went well. I think we finally got some answers, at least what's causing the pain. And, you know, with medicine, I think it's kind of like this. You try things. If that doesn't work, then we try this. And if that doesn't work, we go and we research down this path. And I think that the first response for them, of course, I knew it would be, was the proton pump inhibitors to see if lessening that stomach acid will help. But my fear is that we may have to explore further. I may have to get that surgery eventually. And anyway, that's it. That's my update for you guys. I thank you so much for all your prayers, all your emails, and all your comments. You know, I welcome them. You guys email me and send me like home remedies and your experiences with this issue. A lot of you have had issue with your gallbladder. A lot of you have a hiatal hernia just like me. And other than that, I'm so healthy. I've never had health problems in my whole life. I've never broken a bone. I've just never had any health issues in my life. So this has sucked. This really has sucked because the last year I've been in pain and it affects me. It affects me when I'm sitting down doing school with the boys. It affects me when I'm trying to film a YouTube video and I'm outside working with Joe and doing physical things. It affects me even on the days when we're just out fishing and having a good family time. You know, when you're in pain, it sucks. So I'm hoping this fixes it. We shall see. I will keep you guys updated. I hope you enjoyed this little update video on my stomach, and we will see you guys very soon on the next video.